Hey folks, thanks for joining me. A few people have asked me how I create the wax colour on a few of the carves that I've done on my little 3018 CNC machine. So I thought I'd do a quick video to show everybody. As you can see here, I've already carved out the pattern that I'm going to colourize today. This is the deer scene that I've done previously. The carve itself has been carved to about 5mm in depth, so the very deepest part is 5mm in depth. I purposely over carved the depth so that some of the detail at the top at this point is a little bit hidden. The reason for that is because we're going to lose maybe a millimetre of the depth in the whole process that I'm about to go through. So once you've got your carve done, which I have, this has already been sanded down, so the best that I can to get rid of some of the little bits and pieces of crap that get left inside the carve. So you want this as free from those little bits that just get left in some of the crevices as you can before you start with the wax crayons. Now the wax crayon part of this is very crude. If you bear with me a second. Move my tool board out of the way and you can see what we're doing. So for this particular creation, I'm going to be creating this as a winter scene. I'm going to have white, blues as my predominant colours here. The way that we're going to progress with this one is I want a dark blue line through the middle with a lighter blue fading then to white at the far outer edges. So I've got my crayons lined up. I have a box of parchment paper, literally greaseproof paper, that's all you need. So let's start with the darkest blue on this particular one. So I'm going to start with the colour that I'm going to put in the middle. So I'm probably not going to need all of this crayon for the blue. I'm probably only going to need about 3/4 of it, I think. That's more like 2/3, isn't it? Right. Now for the crude bit, like I said. Put said crayon between parchment paper. Get knocking stick. Make a mess. And obviously what you've just done is flattened it rather than broken it up. You now need to get your hands in there and just crunch those flat pieces up into as small a bits as you can manage. Depending on the quality of the crayons that you pinch from your kids, I mean that you purchase just for this reason, depends on how well these break up. Some of them just don't break up at all. I'm finding that the Crayola ones that I'm using here actually turn very crumbly if you're working a little bit. Once you've got your crumbly bits, You see why I didn't use a full crayon there? Didn't need it. I want to just have a streak of blue right across the middle there. Now you're always going to find that bits of this go where you don't want it to. Most of it isn't going to matter too much. Creative differences. Right, that'll do, I think. Of course, if you've got the patience, you could just use a pencil sharpener to get shavings here instead of smashing it with a hammer. I've not got the patience to use a pencil sharpener for that long. Plus, I work in IT, so there's a much needed bit of catharsis about smashing the hell out of some crayons. You do want to make sure you're almost overfilling the wax crayon bits though. I don't know if you can see on the video, but there are actually little specks of blue mixed in with this white now. That's actually what I wanted. If you don't want to mix your colours before you start melting them, for some reason, then you'll probably need to use a different bit of parchment paper each time you do it. For me, I like the mix of the colours. It's one of the appeals of this process for me. Now I'm actually using this heat gun. It's from B&Q, the equivalent, UK equivalent of Lowe's. It's okay, it's not too bad. I'm using this particular adapter on it because I don't actually want to get the airflow hitting the wax because it'll just blow it everywhere. What I want is the heat. So I'm going to set it on the low setting for this. I'm going to let it heat up for a minute. And what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to keep this so that it's blowing the air on, but really gently. I'm actually at about 4 inches in height, and this will take quite a while to start melting depending on how warm the ambient temperature is where you are. You see how I got a bit too close there and it started blowing it all over the place. Don't want that. You can just see it starting to melt. I know it looks a bit of a mess at the moment. Bear with me. They usually turn out really well, so I'm hoping this one's going to. I do think I need some more blue in this though. Want a bit more white on the bottom down here. This is where the artistic side of this comes in, because it's just down to how you want it to look. I'm just putting this extra bit of blue in because there's a bit of a divot there as it's drying, which probably means that there's a hollow that's just melted away in the middle. Really, you want the wax to be at the same depth as the cuts. It can be a little bit shallower because you're going to take maybe a millimetre off this cut in a minute. Right, now's the boring bit because I need to go and wait. Hello again, folks. So it's been overnight. You don't need to leave this overnight, but I had other things going on, so that's where we are. So all I've done is I've left that to cool and set. Generally speaking, it'll cool and set in around about 20-25 minutes. I like to leave them overnight because usually I've got something else going on anyway. And all I'm going to do now is a facing program on my CNC machine. You can see I've got this all set up and ready. So all I need to do is hit run. The first pass should be around about 1/2 mil. No, not even 1/2 mil, maybe 0.2 mil down. And then I've set the program up to take a full 1/2 mil off. So we need to run the pass, see what it looks like. You can see, well, I don't know if you can quite tell in the video, but the depth of the wax here is quite a bit lower than the wood depth. So I want to get this, it's all nice and level. And as soon as I start that, I realise that I'm not happy with it because it's not going to take enough off on the first pass. So there we have it then, folks. That's done apart from the varnish. I will generally varnish this with a yacht varnish, which I've had no problems with at all. It's not had any problems setting or anything, so that's been fine. The last one that I did, actually, I used Plasticoat clear coating, which seemed to work really well as well. I'm probably going to do that with this as well. It's also a little bit easier to put on the piece because it's in a spray can. Well, there we have it. Thanks very much for watching. If you've got this far, if you've enjoyed this, let me know. Please tell me in the comments if there's anything that you think I could have done better. Again, please tell me in the comments. Thanks very much for watching, and see you again soon.